The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront. Good morning. I am Attorney Karen Jimeno. We bring good news on the second day of the year as private and government initiatives are now on a roll to address the problem of hunger in our country. In the US-German-Irish NGO that publishes the Global Hunger Index, the Philippines ranked in 2024 as a nation with moderate level of hunger. We came out 67th out of 127 countries that scored 14.4% in its index. In a survey that came out in September 2024 by SWS, 22.9% of Filipino families experienced involuntary hunger or were not able to eat anything at least once in the past 3 months. This is the highest since we hit a record of 30.7% during the pandemic. What are the current initiatives in addressing hunger in the Philippines? Who are taking the lead? And where could one send donations or volunteer to help this disturbing reality? Let's find out how everybody could pitch in and find ways to end hunger. Joining us live at the BNC studio is DSWD Undersecretary for Innovations, Eduardo Punay. Good morning, Yusek Ed.
Good morning, Attorney Karen, and Happy New Year also to your followers.
And first, let's start with the Walang Gutom Kitchen Food Bank, which DSWD launched last December 2024. Yeah. Can you tell us what this food bank is about?
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you, Attorney Karen, for this opportunity to explain to our viewers the new program of the DSWD, the Walang Gutom Kitchen Food Bank program. Well, if you remember, during the campaign, President Bongbong Marcos promised and envisioned a country where there is no more hungry Filipino. So this is a realization, one of the realizations of that vision and promise of the President. You mentioned in your report about the data on hunger and malnutrition, involuntary hunger in the country, and that's what we are trying to address. Last year, 2023, 2 years ago, we launched the Walang Gutom Food Stamps Program. This is an electronic food stamps program that provides food credits to food poor Filipinos. Now, we bumped into a law, RA 9803, or the Food Donations Act. It was enacted in 2009 but remained dormant because it wasn't implemented by the DSWD, which was tasked to lead the implementation. So this Walang Gutom Kitchen Food Bank project is actually an implementation of that program, of that law, the Food Donations Act. And so,
did the DSWD have to issue implementing rules and regulations?
Actually, none yet. That's why.
Wala pa.
That's why we were really surprised.
It's stated also in the law, right? So when you looked at the law, it usually states that within 30 days, the implementing agency should come out with implementing rules and regulations.
We're as surprised because there was really no IRR. It's just now that we are actually implementing it. And so we came up with this Walang Gutom Kitchen. We all know that the policy of the administration, of the Marcos Jr. administration, is to come up with programs using a whole-of-nation approach. So very big deal po sa amin itong aming mga partnerships with the private sector because we all know that we share the same causes and advocacies. No? Yung kanilang mga CSR programs ay talagang related din sa food, nutrition. That's why we thought of bringing them together and working together with them. We met with several organizations such as the Pilipinas, Kain Tayo Pilipinas. We met with Jollibee, McDonald's, and they all were happy that they partnered with us in this program. So this is the first private and public food bank / soup kitchen in the country.
So nanggagaling yung food from private donations?
Yeah, that's part of it. But there's a base provision provision of base meals from DSWD. So we cook the basic meals like lugaw with egg or rice with ulam, and then daily may dumarating na mga donations from our private partners na we just traffic them. Like for instance, today it's McDonald's is our donor, tomorrow it's gonna be Jollibee. So maganda
the
talaga
first Walang Gutom Kitchen Food Bank is in Pasay.
Yeah.
Why Pasay?
Actually, this is a very interesting story, Attorney Karen. There is a Pogo hub, a Pogo building raided by PAOK, and it was seized by the government. So we met with the Executive Secretary Luke Bersamin, and the PAOK, and we thought of converting the Pogo hub into something useful. So this is a transformation of something that's negative from the Pogo to something positive, and that brings hope to our countrymen. No? That Pogo hub used to have a torture chamber, used to have a prostitution den right inside, and then we renovated it and converted it into this kitchen.
That's an interesting story. So when you say that you have donors like McDonald's, Jollibee as your partners, do they donate actual food na bago or paano yung mga natitira? Meaning, hindi naman yung tira na kinain na iba, but what I'm saying is yung natira na hindi nabenta. Do they have programs for that para ma-avoid din yung wastage ng food?
Yes. Actually, interestingly, Attorney Karen, we met with them, McDonald's and Jollibee, and surprisingly, talagang wala silang mga excesses sa mga
nauubos lahat.
Nauubos lahat, ganun sila, na-predict nila. So what they did in this program, they produce extra for this program. Talaga nagbibigay sila ng extra to donate. Mga bago talaga, hindi siya tira. And of course, we're very careful then in accepting yung mga may guidelines kami na sinusunod kasi hindi pwede yung sira na. Of course, we have to consider the food safety of our what we serve to our clients.
Yes. And in this case, when you have the Walang Gutom Kitchen Food Bank, yung food ba doon lang dinadala, or do you also send the food to some other LGUs?
Yeah. So right now, this is a pilot stage pa, Attorney Karen, kasi gano'n naman sa DSWD. When we start programs, we usually pilot it for 6 months or 3 months to 6 months. But eventually, when we roll out and scale up the program, that's our plan, to come up with Walang Gutom Mobile Kitchen para may mobile vans kami that can deliver sa mga iba't ibang lugar, not just in NCR but also in the provinces. But right now, the operations remain there in the Walang Gutom Kitchen in Pasay City. And since we opened in December 16, that was led by First Lady Attorney Lisa Araneta Marcos and Secretary Rex Gatchalian, we've served more than 7,000 individuals already.
And this is a total of the people who have gone to the kitchen since it opened.
Yes.
So it's about a month old. And paano ngayon yung, how do you even claim your, do you mention kanina yung electric food stamps? Do you need to show proof of registration, or do you just walk in and claim a meal?
No, the food stamps is a different program. This is the food bank, the kitchen is a parang expansion of that program. No? But right here sa kitchen, people just walk in. No, everybody can walk in. Ang target client talaga niyan is yung mga what we call FISS, families and individuals in street situations, or yung mga homeless nating kababayan na walang makain. Pupunta lang sila doon, they can walk in, we document them, we give them ID so they can go back anytime, and we record how many times they go there, and we also welcome yung mga low-income na mga kababayan natin, like yung mga construction workers na walang pambili ng pagkain, they can just walk in there every time. So we open 6 a.m. and then we run until 2 to 3 p.m. until the supplies last.
Until 2 to 3 p.m. Walang dinner?
Walang dinner. Breakfast and lunch lang siya talaga.
Okay. And are you able to, you said earlier you keep track, but are you able to see kung sino yung mga paulit-ulit? Are you concerned about having an over-dependence on the food banks.
Yeah, that's actually one of the concerns that was raised. But for us kasi sa DSWD, our mandate is social protection. No, whenever beneficiaries go knocking on our door, we cannot turn them away. So we believe that this is an immediate need of our countrymen. Provision of food, hindi naman po yan na parang ayuda na naisusugal. Basic na pangangailangan po yan. So as far as many as they can get food from us, we give them.
And you mentioned that you're also looking into having the Walang Gutom Kitchen mobile food banks. But right now, when it comes to this pilot project in Pasay City, it's just in Pasay.
Yes.
You don't go out to other areas to
No, actually,
distribute food.
this year, Secretary Rex directed us to look into possible expansion in the provinces. No? So, andyan naman, identified na naman natin yan, Atty. Karen, yung mga target na mga provinces natin where the prevalence of involuntary hunger is very high. So, yun yung siguro probably mag-establish tayo ng more kitchens in those areas. We just find to get resources siguro.
Can you share with us what provinces right now are high in the list?
Yeah, actually, we had a lot of data crunching on hunger and poverty and malnutrition at talagang lumalabas number one talaga sa listahan all the time yung BARM region natin.
BARM?
Yeah, it's in the BARM na talaga napakalaki ng number of food poor families, ng mga stunted kids, ng malnutrition. So, nandun yung target natin. And then, of course, in the Visayas, also, pumapasok lagi si Samar and Leyte, nandun sa top 5 lagi sa listahan.
In Metro Manila, is the incidence of hunger very high? Is it the highest in Luzon?
Not actually, no.
No,
surprisingly,
okay.
no. The highest in Luzon that we saw is in Bicol and in Isabela.
So are you also going to put up kitchens in those provinces?
Yes, yun yung direction namin wherever the food stamps program is going, susunod si kitchen.
And Yusek, the election season is already here. It's 2025. How does the DSWD ensure that the mobile food kitchens will not be used for political activities?
Yeah, that's very crucial. No? Tama ka, Atty. Karen, that we isolate our programs from political forces or maneuverings. No? Talagang klaro yan. We communicate with our beneficiaries and the public that these are programs of DSWD, not of politicians, not of local governments, not of lawmakers. Talagang ina-explain natin sa mga beneficiaries natin na we communicate to the public that this is a national government project, and although we have to clarify that it doesn't mean that this is a national, we don't work with the local governments or the lawmakers anymore. Of course, collaboration, may whole of government approach naman tayo. Pwede magtulungan, hindi natin sinasarado yung pintuan natin sa pakikipagtulungan with the local governments. It's just that hindi pwedeng gamitin yung programa ng DSWD sa pangangampanya.
And of course, it can be used also as a form of vote buying if it's perceived by the voters na dala-dala nung mga kandidato. But in terms of also the other programs of DSWD, you have AICS or the Assistance for Individuals in Crisis Situations. How do you avoid double dipping na like you're availing yourselves of AICS but also going to the food banks?
Yeah, that's one of the talagang concerns or issues being raised and hurled against the DSWD. And our argument has always been, we've been consistent to this, na yung iba-ibang programa po namin ay may iba-ibang purpose, may iba-ibang objectives yan. Alam naman natin ang kahirapan po, it entails a lot of factors. No? Maraming factors po yan. Nandiyan ang gutom, nandiyan ang education, nandiyan ang livelihood and employment. So, iba-ibang intervention ang kailangan ating mga kababayan depende sa kanilang mga sitwasyon. So, dyan po pumapasok yung mga social workers natin para alamin kung ano yung mga intervention na kailangan ng beneficiaries natin. So, iba-ibang target po yan. For instance, yung AICS is an Assistance to Individuals in Crisis crisis situation. So kasama dyan yung medical assistance, transportation assistance, food assistance, kapag nangangailangan ng pantuition, so may financial assistance ang ating AICS. Ang ating 4Ps naman, the more popular flagship program of DSWD, it's designed to end the intergenerational cycle of poverty. So it's an investment to health and nutrition of children and education, health and education of children.
So you have to have a child
Yes.
in order to qualify for 4Ps.
Yeah.
Pero pag AICS, pag may medical situation ka, even if you don't have a child that's dependent on you, pwede kang mag-AICS.
Iba-ibang guidelines po, Atty. Karen, ang mga programa natin at talagang sinusigurado namin na walang overlapping. Kasi talagang marami nangangailangan na Pilipino.
And the President recently signed the budget for 2025. How does this look for DSWD? Meron ba kayong na-slash na budget for some of your programs? And in terms of the Walang Gutom Kitchen, meron ba tong line item sa budget?
With the Walang Gutom Kitchen, wala pa siya. No? Ang may line item pa lang po na sa budget next year is yung food stamps program, the Walang Gutom food stamps program. But since this is a new program, we're piloting the kitchen, so wala pa siyang line item talaga. It still gets funding from the other programs, related programs of the DSWD. And maliit lang naman yung requirement dito because what we need is manpower lang, tsaka yung mga raw materials lang. So,
and you mentioned the venue is free because it was forfeited by the government.
Yes.
And yung mga workers, paano yun? Are they full-time DSWD employees or are they volunteers?
Yeah, thank you for reminding, Atty. Karen. Meron tayong mga permanent and regular cooks there and servers that we hired, mga unti lang naman, less than 20. They run it daily. Ang maganda dito, we open it to volunteers, private volunteers, at marami na tayong nakuha mga different organizations pumupunta doon, especially during the holiday season. Nag-serve sila sa mga beneficiaries. They helped out in the kitchen. So nakita mo talaga yung spirit of volunteerism.
So right now, very little pa lang yung budget and wala pang devoted budget for this. But for 2025, when you think of expanding to other areas, wala kayong inallocate na budget?
There is a budget allocated for next year, for this year rather. We allocated about 30 million for the expansion of the program, and that comes from the budget of our other program, the Pag-abot program, which is designed to help the FISS, yung mga families and individuals in street situations. And that center, the center of that Pag-abot is located also in that POGO building.
Okay, but I think it's a good initiative to have volunteers. So how does one volunteer for the Walang Gutom Kitchen, especially for those listening?
Actually, you can check out our social media accounts, official social media on Facebook and Twitter. We posted there how you can volunteer, and we're using QR code for registration. Gagamitin nyo lang po yung QR code para mag-schedule kayo kailan kayo mag-volunteer.
And lastly, just to distinguish us from the food stamps program, how does one qualify for the food stamp program, and what does that get you?
The food stamps program, Atty. Karen, it's a targeted program talaga. It's meant to provide food credits, 3,000 food credits per month for food poor families.
3,000 pesos?
Okay. But food credits not convertible to cash. Parang they're given EBT cards, electronic benefit transfer cards, which they can use to buy the goods or the food they need sa mga accredited retailers namin every month. And then they're given 3,000 per month.
Okay. And mahirap ba hanapin yung mga accredited retailers?
No, actually, marami na tayo na accredit now. It's been running for 2 years already. So this year, as promised by the President, we're serving 300,000 households. And we have 1,000 accredited retailers nationwide.
Are you able to track your data in terms of reducing hunger in the Philippines?
One thing about the DSWD under the leadership of Secretary Rex is we're very data-driven. No, we make sure that before we start program, nagkakaroon kami ng baselining to determine the impact of programs that we run. We started and we run, no? And at the end of on the third year or on the fifth year, we'll do the impact assessment.
Okay, and is that all in-house or do you hire a third party to do that?
We prefer third party talaga to be objective, to get objective results.
Okay, so I suppose for us Filipinos, we can expect our ranking in that hunger index to go down.
Yeah, hopefully with these new programs such as the food stamps program, the Walang Gutom Kitchen, and also another thing, mayroon kaming Walang Gutom awards sa Atty. Karen, which where we partner with Galing Pook Foundation, where we do a lot of capacity building and promotions of the best practices of local governments in food insecurity programs.
Okay, and lastly, is there also a program by DSWD where you can donate yung mga tira-tira na food? Especially if at home you have mga canned goods that are about to expire, or yung mga handa like during the holiday season na maraming tira. Meron bang ganung program?
Actually, it's in the kitchen, we accept donations from even private individuals, not just companies and partners. No, you can just go there in our Walang Gutom Kitchen and donate your food or even clothing that we can use there sa aming beneficiaries. So we just, of course, we follow guidelines, strict guidelines sa food safety.
Okay. Thank you so much, Undersecretary Ed Punay. Very helpful information.
Thank you, Atty. Karen.
We'll have the Philippine Food Bank Foundation when At the Forefront returns after a short break.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musni. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey.
We empower.
Filipino startups can actually compete globally.
We motivate.
Growing retail interest today from a cryptocurrency perspective.
Changes that are vital.
We have high data privacy standards for all our clients.
Follow the Money with Rain Musni.
Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta.
Ferdy Salvador.
Welcome to Industry Beacon,
Where we shine a light on the trailblazers,
the disruptors and the industry leaders shaping our future.
and in each episode we explore how they're staying ahead in their fields.
One industry at a time.
It's a good opportunity to come from Australia here to the Philippines.
AC Health has launched groundbreaking initiatives to improve access to care.
I'm so thrilled we opened the country's first cancer-only hospital.
Industry Beacon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
A sports psychologist. I used to have one.
That is so important.
Yes, it's so important. Honestly, I feel like people call me crazy if I do it.
There's no shame in that.
It helps. I've been doing it for so long. My mom's a psychologist, so I grew up with a psychologist in the house. And then maybe when I got to a little bit competitive stage na national team, I got a psychologist again just to talk about how it feels like being an athlete in general, like growing up.
Yeah. How has that helped you specifically, getting a sports psychology? Psychologist? Because honestly, I feel like that's a very undermined aspect of being an athlete, diba?
Because they help you a lot with the mentality. Yung fact lang na, when you talk to yourself so negatively, that already affects a lot of things.
Right.
And your mind, your body. Then it can help a lot with your game also.
Smartphones is always the most in-demand electronics right now. Phones are like pocket computers. It offers a greater portability, like laptops. This is why consumers' top priority is portability, or should I say mobility. And this is why laptops comes next after the mobile phones. Students, they use tech in classrooms. That's why when they invest on high-tech quality gadgets, they can pass it on to their next sibling, or they can just use this phone after school when they're looking for a job. For example, for professionals, they would prefer not staying in their cubicle, but they would, let's say, set a meeting anywhere or elsewhere. But then again, it only shows that mobile phone is actually a basic requirement in everyone's lifestyle.
Welcome back at the Forefront. And now we have with us the president of the Philippine Food Bank Foundation Incorporated, Mr. Itong Torres. Good morning, Itong.
Good morning, Attorney Karen, and thank you for having us over.
Okay, so 2017 is when the Philippine Food Bank Foundation started. Can you give us an idea as to how this started and what have been your accomplishments so far?
Well, it really started back in 2016 when I was together with Dr. Bernie Villegas, who is the Professor Emeritus at the University of Asia in the Pacific.
Yes.
So I was fortunate enough to attend one of their programs. It's the Advanced Management Program in ESE in Barcelona. And that's when he shared his dream and idea of establishing a food bank here in the Philippines. So 2016, when he came back, together with a few other members who also are founders, Dr. Lito Sandejas, the late Jamila Dao, Danny Navarro, who used to be an executive in one of the logistics companies of San Miguel, and myself started talking about what could we do to address hunger as well as food security and the environment by doing food rescue.
So when you say food rescue, it's avoiding waste.
It's avoiding waste, basically. So there's a lot of surplus or near expiry food products that are actually just disposed and discarded. So we figured instead of having that discarded, why not collect that and distribute that to marginalized communities.
And can you give us an example of what are the common items that are discarded or close to expiration that right now the Philippine Food Bank is able to utilize?
Bread. Bread is actually a major food item that is being discarded.
So a lot of Filipinos discard bread.
Well, a lot of
or bakeries,
food producers and retailers, because it's
common that if you can't sell stale bread, so parang it's good to eat pa, but
correct.
Then if you end up selling stale bread, then it affects your quality, your branding.
Correct. Pastries also. So those are the common food products that we normally receive as donated products from food retailers and manufacturers.
And how are you able to convert that into food that people are able to access? Are your food banks accessible by anyone?
Well, the way we work is that we receive or we collect the food that is being distributed. So right now, we're working with partners such as Starbucks Philippines, Maxis Group, Century Tuna, and a few other groceries, All Day Supermarket, and convenience stores. So on a daily basis, they would let us know whether they have surplus food that they have to donate. So we arrange for our trucks to pick up, and then we bring it to our warehouse. Right now, our warehouse is located in Las Piñas. And then what we do is we also have a list of beneficiaries in the area that we arrange for them to collect from our warehouse.
So this is different from the Walang Gutom Kitchen food bank in a sense that they have an ongoing kitchen where people can just walk in to get food. But for the Philippine Food Bank Foundation, you don't have an existing kitchen. It's more of warehouses where people can get food.
Correct. So we work with institutions, basically, not individual people.
So ano kayo? Parang B2B, business to business.
Exactly.
So for those who go there to get food, they are entities or foundations that also distribute the food to individuals.
Correct. And these are like, we try to address people who are actually like children. The first 1,000 days is very important. What we're trying to do is we're also helping to avoid stunting, if possible, because that's basically our workforce.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So most of them are orphanages, schools.
What about local government units?
Parishes, etc.
Yes.
We haven't really worked with local government units. There is an effort to do that. In fact, last July or August, I forget, just last year, we attended a Zero Hunger Summit in Iloilo, which was attended by the governor of Iloilo and all of the mayors in Iloilo. It was an initiative that was done by the Zero Hunger Alliance with, I think, the Gawad Kalinga group,
Yes.
together with the Century.
And what came out
Pacific
of
group.
that meeting? Were you able to help Iloilo, the province itself, and the mayors to bring food to their hungry constituents?
Yes, so basically what they did was they engaged the local government units to participate, sharing what would be the effort that is needed to propagate this whole initiative, to bring food that will be donated and harvested and received from different food establishments to the different local government units.
And during disasters, are you able to also deploy the food that you have from your warehouses to areas that need food, especially when you have those that are staying in evacuation centers, like those that suddenly lost their homes? Are you able to coordinate with local governments?
We're
for
also
that?
able to do, actually what we do is we collaborate with other foundations already who have operations installed already.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that these foundations already work with local government units.
And do you have warehouses outside of Metro Manila?
Yes, yes. So we were able to expand to Davao, Cebu, Bacolod, Iloilo, Cagayan de Oro, and Pampanga. One of our largest supporters and partners is Starbucks Philippines. So what they did was, in collaboration with Grab Philippines as well, is that we have been able to set up satellite locations already to receive the goods and beneficiaries to pick up.
Earlier, DSWD Undersecretary Ed Punay said that BARM in the Philippines, in Mindanao, is the most hunger-prone area in the whole Philippines. Is there an effort to bring your operations also to the BARM area?
If there's a chance for us to expand over there, why not?
But what's the chance? What would it take for you to go there?
Well, I guess we'll have to figure out, the food bank issue is really a supply chain issue. So if there's a way,
especially since it's so perishable, no,
correct,
your food.
Correct. So the way we operate is that as soon as we receive the goods, it's immediately picked up same day. So we don't really keep food in our warehouses. It serves as a staging area.
And earlier, Ito, you mentioned also that, of course, pastries, breads, those are the primary sources of potential wastage. What about yung mga actual ulam? A lot of buffets, they tend to overserve.
Yes.
Is that something that's donated also to the Philippine Food Bank?
Well, that's something that we are already currently exploring. It's very difficult to manage that kind of food because, of course, we want to make sure that food safety is addressed, and we don't want to be receiving food that we will donate and it might be rotten already. So luckily, we were able to collaborate with another foundation called the Loaves and Fish Foundation, headed by the former ambassador Joe Yap. So they're a food kitchen, actually. So all of the raw materials that we receive, we actually donated to that foundation. So it's a good collaboration because we receive the raw materials and then we just donate it to that other foundation so that they can cook it and
the raw materials tend to be what kind, like meat?
Sometimes they're meat, sometimes they're vegetables, sometimes they're like egg whites. We also receive
Where do
some
they
of
come
those.
from, these types of donations ng raw materials?
Some of them come from clubs like Makati Sports Club. Some of them come from restaurants like Mary Grace. So
it's their extra ingredients.
It's their surplus ingredients that they're just going to be discarding it. So might as well send it our way. We'll figure out where to send it over.
What about groceries and the palengkes? Kasi vegetables, yan yung mabilis din masira or hindi mabenta pagka wilted na. So vegetables, fruits.
Yes.
Are they also being donated to the Philippine Food Bank?
Yes, they are. So who do we partner with? Sarisuki. Sarisuki is a startup company that also receive vegetables and fruits directly coming from the farmers. So they're actually called like ugly vegetables. They don't look pretty enough to be sold.
Yes.
So they donate it to us.
Okay.
And then we immediately send it over to.
And for those listening to us, Itong, so if you want to donate to the Philippine Food Bank, what kind of donations do you accept? Do you also accept canned goods and non-food items like clothes or things that you can use at home?
Yes. We actually do that. So obviously most donations are food related, food items. But since we also partnered with supermarkets that have excess surplus non-food items, they end up donating it to us as well. So that also goes to our beneficiaries.
Your beneficiaries are other types of foundations.
These are the parishes. These are marginalized communities. So those type of items are also donated to them.
And how will people get in touch with the Philippine Food Bank Foundation if they want to donate?
Well, we have a website. Please go to www.foodbank.org.ph. We email us or contact us, and we'd be happy to coordinate and figure out the best way to either receive that or we can pick it up.
Do you also accept volunteers?
Yes, we do. So just let us know and we'll figure out the best way to collaborate.
Thank you so much, President Itong Torres. Again, very helpful information from the Philippine Food Bank Foundation.
Thank you, Attorney Karen, for having me.
And when we return, we have Rise Against Hunger Philippines up next when At the Forefront returns after a short break.
The latest weather updates and forecast.
Could be another tropical cyclone heading towards us at the end of the year.
With information to help us understand important aspects about our climate.
Can you tell us a bit about the jobs that will actually be produced by this project, not just in the construction, but of course in the actual running of this farm?
Weather HQ.
Whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
the questions.
Why sounds very serious, but
Seryoso,
watch
no?
it.
Di ba parang, cry, may away pamilya, etc.
The issues.
Who are supposed to be on the faces of our bank, of our money?
Bangko Sentral, no? There is a numismatic committee who meets and decides.
We clarify matters.
The 1,000 peso bill was changed from the three heroes of World War II to the Philippine Eagle.
Pinky Web is always on point.
Eddie's looking very smart. Hello, Eddie.
He's woken up specially for
Hello.
you.
Find a special place.
Good, this one here.
You've been a good girl. I have been very good, actually. Very, very good. So, very happy Christmas and happy New Year. Thank you.
Welcome back at the forefront. And now we have the Executive Director of Rise Against Hunger Philippines, Mr. Jomar Flores. Good morning, Jomar.
Yes, good morning, Atty. Karen.
So let's talk about Rise Against Hunger in the Philippines. This is a US-based NGO. And when was it established in the Philippines?
We were established 10 years ago in 2015. And it was because of Typhoon Yolanda that our U.S. office decided to establish a branch here in the Philippines.
And from then on, how far has the operations of Rise Against Hunger reached the Philippines? Do you now operate outside of Luzon?
We operate nationally. We feed about 1.5 million Filipinos every year. We have 5 warehouses all over Luzon. We have operations from as far north as Tuguegarao, Isabela, and then the Visayas, of course, Central Luzon, Calabarzon area, Metro Manila. And then in Mindanao, we have in Cagayan de Oro, Davao, and the BARM area.
That's great. So you also have operations in the BARM area.
That's right.
Earlier, we had Undersecretary Ed Punay and then Itong of the Philippine Food Bank Foundation saying that with BARM, usually the issue is logistics. How were you able to operate in the BARM area?
We have partners there in Mindanao del Sur and Marawi. They are in charge of distributing the food. So what we do is that what we call virtual food banking. We coordinate the distribution of food, and they're the ones that do the actual logistics work of collecting the food and distributing that food to the final beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm. And for the Rise Against Hunger kitchens, you mentioned earlier that you also have mobile kitchens. Where can you find these kitchens?
The mobile kitchens operate all over Metro Manila, different barangays. We operate usually in Pasig area, Taguig, Pasay, Caloocan area, and also in Tondo.
Why these areas? Are these because of findings that there's a lot of poverty and hunger in the areas where you operate right now?
Well, there's always pockets of hunger and poverty, even in the city, in slum areas especially. And we believe that food is local. It should be reached by everyone. So sometimes it's not enough that you actually have a station, a permanent kitchen. What you need to do is to be able to go to the people and distribute the food to them.
Where does Rise Against Hunger get its funding? Is it all from the U.S. or do you have donors here in the Philippines?
We have a lot of private sector donors. We work with a lot of American companies. Our U.S. office does our fundraising for us. We're also a member of the Global Food Banking Network, and we operate a national food bank. So we're largely privately funded. We don't get any funding from the government, and we get donations of food from practically all the food manufacturers in the Philippines.
And do you also work with the government or the church?
We work with local government units. We work with faith-based organizations. We work with DepEd and DSWD.
Do you also work with them to identify who are hungry, or do you just accept walk-ins?
Normally, the beneficiaries are identified by our partners because we are an auxiliary service organization, so we don't deal directly with beneficiaries. We work with our partners, and they're the ones in charge of identifying the ones that are in need of the food.
But can you help us understand? So for Rise Against Hunger, you talked about mobile kitchens. For the mobile kitchens, can anyone just walk to the kitchen and claim a meal? Or do you have to show some proof of identification to see that whether you're qualified?
So our mobile kitchens go to the different barangays. We coordinate with our local partners there, and they give out about 500 IDs or stamps. And not just anybody can walk in because we have to prioritize the people that are in need. And obviously we can't serve everybody, so we need to be able to prepare food for about 500 people at one lunch time. So our partners are the ones in charge of identifying them.
When you say partners, are these the local government units?
Mostly non-government organizations in collaboration with the local barangays.
Okay, so how are you able to avoid your operations from being politicized? Because at the identification stage, you might have some of the people from the local areas favoring people who are, their constituents, or, like, yun yung dun pumapasok yung politika, yung pamimili kung sino yung makakatanggap. How do you avoid that?
That's actually a very good question. It's very tricky, especially right now during elections time. And in fact, what we do is we have a MOA with our local partners. And one of the provisions there states that they cannot politicize our donations. They cannot put names of politicians on our donations. And they have to make sure that the people that are in need are the ones that are actually served. Of course, may nakakalusot minsan na during our the times that we go out, somebody would start saying something, campaigning. But if they do that, then they get sort of blacklisted by us. So they know that we mean business.
Okay, that's great to hear. And are there plans to expand your operations? Based on our research, you have so many initiatives. You have school feeding programs, the jeepney kitchen and food bank. What's this agricultural recovery? Does this prevent waste?
Yes, that's right. We operate a food bank in Nueva Vizcaya at the Nueva Vizcaya Agricultural Terminal because based on studies, about 50% of the food that is, the vegetables that are brought to the trading posts are actually discarded because of cosmetic reasons. They're too ugly, they don't fit the usual standards, and that's thrown out. So what we do is we have a food bank there where the farmers can barter their unsold vegetables for other food items. And these vegetables are now distributed by us about 5,000 school children in Nueva Vizcaya.
Oh, that's really impressive. And do you have also operations that cook the food, or basta binibigay na lang siya sa households?
We have 2 community kitchens, one in Tondo and one in Calauan. And these are completely run by volunteers. They cook daily meals for about, at least in Calauan, about 5,000 people. And in Tondo, about 700 school children are given meals.
And how do you also avoid food wastage when it comes to restaurants? Do you partner with any restaurants so that the food that they're not able to sell for the day just goes to Rise Against Hunger?
No, we don't partner with restaurants because based on our kitchen studies, they don't produce enough surplus that could be used by us. We're very strict with our food safety guidelines, and we have our own food safety officers. And so, because once the food is taken out of the kitchen, the process of bacteria growth starts. So we want to make sure that we only serve fresh food. So we work with mostly food manufacturers or the commissaries of these restaurants, and that they distribute raw materials to us, which we cook.
Okay, so it's really mostly raw materials talaga,
That's
not
right.
leftover food.
No.
You don't handle that.
We don't do Sharon.
Recently ko lang nalaman bakit Sharon. And what is this Sky Farm program? What does this do?
You know, there's a lot of real estate up there that's not used. So we've
What do you mean up
converted
there, like sa mga buildings?
buildings, condominiums, establishments, and that can be used to produce food. So right now, we partnered with two developers to set up what you call hydroponic farms. So what we do there is that we produce high-valued vegetables, and these vegetables are sold to coffee shops, restaurants, and the proceeds of that are used in our feeding programs.
Oh, that's amazing. So Rise Against Hunger, you also are able to do hydroponic and urban farming, and then you are able to generate revenue from that.
Exactly.
Ang galing. Okay. And is there an effort to perhaps train people in urban areas, lalo na yung mga low-income families, so that they can grow their own food?
We try to work in scale. So sometimes it's not. It's actually a misnomer that you can train them to produce their own food. It's like we don't deal with plantitos and plantitas because the produce is so small.
Yeah, it's minimal.
And the effort is to teach them is not worth the produce, the yield.
Yeah.
So we'd rather focus more in building up scale. So, like for example, sometimes I've attended, for example, the Hunger Summit, and somebody suggested, why don't we teach the slum dwellers to plant vegetables on these mga containers? No? And then I asked them, have you been to a slum community lately? They don't have sun there. They don't even have places where to put these containers. What kind of food can they produce? You exert so much effort in teaching them how to plant, and the yield is so small. So we'd rather work in scale rather than put our effort. It's like the Pareto principle. 80% should be generated by 20% effort.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And for those listening to us, how can viewers pitch in to help Rise Against Hunger?
Well, they can go to our social media pages, Rise Against Hunger Philippines. Be sure it's Philippines because we're in 6 countries all over the world.
What are the other countries?
We're in the US, we're in South Africa, we're in India, Malaysia, Singapore, Italy.
Wow, so that's really around the world. So you can just go to the website, and what types of donations do you accept? Are they just in food items or other types of, what other donations do you accept as well?
Well, we accept also non-food items, but they have to vet their donations. We don't accept everything. Like for example, some people might think that they bought, say, a jar of mayonnaise which they opened and they couldn't consume it and they could donate that to us. No, we don't accept that. We don't accept anything that's already served on the buffet table. We don't accept leftovers. We don't accept clothes. Ayaw namin maging ukay-ukay. And then we also have to make sure that the volume is worth our effort to collect them.
Okay, so those are very helpful guidelines. When you say volume, what type of volume?
Like for example, we don't just accept like a few jars of here and there because we feed about 5,000 children every day. So we have to make sure that there's enough quantity to be able to produce a complete, healthy, nutritious meal for these kids.
Okay, so you really deal directly, siguro, with other, as you mentioned, corporations. A lot of American corporations support Rise Against Hunger. Para, like you said, that scale is there.
That's right, that's right. Because hunger is so prevalent. I mean, hindi tayo pwedeng pakonti-konti lang. I mean, like, we made a commitment to end hunger by 2030, and we cannot do that by small steps. We have to, especially right after the pandemic, we have to really catch up.
Yes, and you're correct. The Sustainable Development Goals, number 1 is ending poverty, and the goal is to reach these SDGs by 2030.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Jomar, for your time today, and we really learned a lot. Good luck with your work with
Thank you very much.
Rise Against Hunger. Over the years, non-government organizations have been at the forefront to address hunger in the Philippines. The formal entry of the DSWD in the picture is a clear indication that this administration is giving priority to solve the problem. Hunger is a concern not only by our government or some concerned individuals. It should also be everyone's goal to lend a helping hand and end starvation once and for all. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us tomorrow for meaningful conversations that would help you form an objective personal opinion. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.